I sat in my office earlier today, and I thought to myself that if I listened to a podcast about sports, I would want someone who is authentic and honest. And I felt this sense of fear, and I realized like I had to kind of challenge myself, like, what kind of show do I want this to be? And as I learned of who Jon Gruden is, I felt sad and disappointed. And I want that very, very clear. Like, I was sad because I really loved Jon Gruden as a kid. I remember watching Gruden's quarterback camp. I was a young quarterback watching Russell Wilson and Andrew Luck and Brandon Weed and all these guys go, and I learned about X's and O's. And I remember watching Monday Night Football with my dad, and Jon Gruden was there as I grew up. And then I was sad. I literally sat down in my office, and I was feeling this panic and sense of, what do I say, and can I even cover this topic? And I guess I was sad about the state of our society because I was scared. Can I talk about this topic at all? Like, I've got fear of being able to say my opinion and share my thoughts, and I'm always afraid of people taking what I say out of context or misinterpreting it and coming after me and attacking me. And I kind of just want to be able to talk openly. And so that is how I ended up recording this next segment. It's a segment where I literally sat down. I had like 3 bullet points, and I just shared my heart of how I felt given the Jon Gruden news that came out. One thing I didn't say, I didn't say this during the video I recorded, is that, last week news came out of a really bad, embarrassing Jon Gruden email. And I was like, well, it's 10 years ago. Like, fine. A mistake is a mistake. I'm sure I said dumb stuff when I was, 10 years ago. I was, I'm 24 now. I was 14 years old 10 years ago. So I have no doubt I said ridiculous, stupid stuff when I was 14, 10 years ago. If I'm going to judge myself that way, then Jon Gruden said dumb stuff 10 years ago. Look, society has changed so much. Maybe a lot can change in 10 years, whatever. But then we learned, it's not just one email that was a mistake. It's like a bunch of them. And, they're not 10 years old. They're from like 3 years ago. And 3 years ago, if you're saying dumb stuff then 3 years ago, you're probably not supposed to say that. So I felt like my eyes were opened up. And that's the detail I didn't say. I already put this video on YouTube. I want people to listen to what I have to say in its entirety. And I would really appreciate if you can listen to everything and not take what I say out of context. Like, listen to the context of what I'm saying and how I say it. I'm nervous about this. I don't think this is political, but I don't know. This is one that I would have felt weird if I didn't cover. So anyway, enjoy this next topic. I'm going to play it right now. Here we go. I'm recording this segment separate from the rest of the show. I'll be honest, I don't know if I'm going to even release it. I've been talking now for 17 minutes about this, and I still can't figure out how to put what I want to say to words, really. But I realized, like, I was trying to sit down and write and prepare a segment about Jon Gruden, and I started crying, actually, like out of stress and anger and just like a smattering of emotions. And I thought maybe if I sit down and talk through them, it would help. The big story today is that Raiders head coach Jon Gruden resigned. A bunch of emails leaked of him saying horrible, horrible stuff, misogynistic, racist, homophobic things. And, I look around at my life and I think of my friend Marcel, who such a wonderful human being. And, I think of my fiance. I think of my friend Arthur, whose husband Brian is fantastic. And those are all people in groups that Jon Gruden's comments, like attack and, say bad. I don't know. I wonder, like, did I not know the real Jon Gruden? Now, here's a statement Jon Gruden released. He said, "I have resigned as the head coach of the Las Vegas Raiders. I love the Raiders and do not want to be a distraction. Thank you to all the players, coaches, staff, and fans of Raider Nation. I'm sorry. I never meant to hurt anyone." And look, this story is hot dynamite. It's going to be probably in the news for a long time. Jon Gruden's career is over. And I called some people in my life when there was a big story that is sports, but indirectly sports. It's about someone in sports who did something naughty. I call people like, hey, what do you think? How should I cover it? And most of the time I would not, like, honestly, I should not cover the Jon Gruden story. There's nothing I can add. There is nothing I can say that, like, all you can say is what he said is terrible. Those emails are awful and shameful, and everyone's going to call him a terrible person and move on. And I'm so torn because we live in an environment where it's not safe to have a nuanced conversation. Like it's not safe. People take sound bites out of what people say. People love to take stuff out of context. And every day I feel pressure to make sure I don't say the wrong thing. And I love my job. I love my job so much. I'm so grateful for the life I live. And part of that, I feel this challenge in my heart that I tell myself, like, the reason why I do what I do for myself is so that I don't have a boss who can fire me. I don't have anyone, like, the only person who can fire me is the audience. If the audience doesn't like what I'm saying, they can choose to not listen. Otherwise, I don't have a network over top of me looking down saying, don't say that, don't say that. And I love the freedom to say whatever I want. And so I think I'm sitting down right now because I feel this deep sadness that I'm not allowed to say what I really want to say, which is that I was really sad when all this came out about Jon Gruden. And I wondered, like, did I not know the real Jon Gruden? Maybe clearly. I mean, I've never met him. Although, man, I loved his interviews. He was so entertaining to listen to. He was great on Monday Night Football. And I guess we're having like a career funeral for Jon Gruden where it's over, man. Like, we'll never see him on TV again. He's gone forever, I would assume. Probably rightfully so. But I just felt this. I was sitting down to write and realizing how scared I was that I might say something that was offensive, or I might make it seem like I'm defending him. And I started crying and I lost it. And I'm like, I should talk about this, I think. And maybe I'm the only one, but I wonder, like, is there anyone else out there who saw this news about Jon Gruden and was just like so torn? And torn is the wrong word, maybe just sad, because a person I really enjoyed watching talk about football is gone forever. And I think I know some people in the Raiders organization. I know people who have met him. They love him. He's a guy who loves football. He's passionate about football. And even Jon Gruden's final act, his thing was, I don't want to be a distraction. Peace out. He failed as the Raiders head coach. He won one Super Bowl. You can argue that the only time Jon Gruden won a Super Bowl was when he got handed a team that was built by Tony Dungy. Remember, he got to Tampa, won that first year with a team that wasn't his, really. And that's kind of been his claim to fame, is I won a Super Bowl one time. But also his enthusiasm and love for football are the thing that I want to choose to remember about him. I want to read a tweet by Albert Breer. He said, also fascinating, how quickly the Gruden emails have become public. Well, all aspects of the league's investigation into Dan Snyder have remained completely private. Lesson for everyone in the difference between the people who cash the checks and those who write them. The emails were found during the investigation into the Washington football team owner, Dan Snyder, for his improper conduct. And again, yeah, the NFL released the Jon Gruden emails. We still do not know what Dan Snyder did or said, and I would assume it's even worse because I don't know. It's just amazing what money can buy. The NFL protects their billionaire owners. I don't know. I think Urban Meyer should step down. I really agreed with what Gruden said there, is that, I don't want to be a distraction. Okay, get out of there. Head coach should not be a distraction ever. Gruden was. He stepped down. Fired, really. I think they said either step down or we're going to fire you. Urban Meyer, I can't believe hasn't had a similar thing happen, and maybe it's wrong to even compare the two. I don't know. I'm interested to see who the Raiders hire next. They've got a good quarterback, Derek Carr. Derek Carr is like a person you could build around. They've got a great stadium there, a brand new stadium in Vegas. I would assume this Raiders job is really attractive. But I ultimately sat down because I felt so emotional when I started thinking about what I can say and what I can't say, and what if I cover the story and I lose my job? And I don't want that to happen. But I have to say, like, I was sad. I can't be the only person who, like, started tuning in, said, huh, Jon Gruden said that and that, and maybe betrayed or heartbroken, like, huh, this person who I held in such high regard, not what I thought it was. And I don't know. We I don't know how I'm going to cover the story. I have no idea. I just I feel very conflicted and sad. So I encourage everyone to listen to the full episode because there are little details that are missed when you watch only the small breakouts for this show. I want to read two more tweets. First of all, number one, Brandon Perna from That's Good Sports. I've never interacted with him, but he's friends with Tom Grossi, so he must be great. Brandon Perna tweeted, he said, "It is, after all, a great bit of irony that Jon Gruden's final game as a Raider was a loss to Khalil Mack." That's kind of funny. Remember, Jon Gruden famously traded him away and didn't really want him when he was hired as a head coach. That's funny to me. Also, by the way, another thought too is that the news that kind of ended Jon Gruden's career happened during a Monday Night Football broadcast, which was Jon Gruden's former job. And I want to say, don't get it twisted. I, as a kid, was a fan of Jon Gruden. I really liked, Gruden's QB camp was really influential to me as a young quarterback. And, let's be clear, when he left Monday Night Football, it was not the same. So you can, point out someone's flaws and also acknowledge that some things in the past, I have good memories with Jon Gruden, which makes me feel even weirder. And my friend Harrison called me earlier and compared it to liking Chris Brown music, but realizing that Chris Brown is a terrible person. Another tweet I want to read, it's from Tom Grossi, another friend of the show. I absolutely love Tom Grossi, one of my favorite humans. You can tell, I've met him, been to his house in New York, got a really good heart. Tom Grossi said, "When you work for a private entity like the NFL, you are beholden to their rules and regulations. Gruden said some awful stuff, and because of that, he's out of a job. That's not cancel culture, that's consequences." So, yeah, I encourage anyone, go to your job and make send emails to your coworkers similar to what Jon Gruden sent. It's a bit funny that ESPN isn't acknowledging part of the story, which is that, remember, Jon Gruden worked for them when these emails were sent. Although, and again, I want to repeat this. I think a lot of people don't realize this is not one email from 10 years ago. This is a bunch of emails over the span of 7 years. One mistake, I've made mistakes that I hope people forgive if they ever come out. But if I had a pattern of repeatedly being awful as a human being, I would hope that would be not forgiven. And it's a hard topic to cover. I hope I did the right thing by covering this and the way I cover it. Again, Gruden's QB camp is a fond memory I have watching. I remember Russell Wilson's Gruden QB camp. I was like, man, I love this guy. And also, anyone criticizing me for crying, I encourage you to cry. It feels great. It's made my life better. And I hope you realize I wasn't crying because Jon Gruden was fired. I was crying because I had this stress of how to cover this. And I was like, man, I don't know. I'm so afraid of losing my job all the time. And I don't want that to happen. So crying is great. I recommend everyone do it. 10 out of 10. It's fantastic. I also don't know. I hope people realize I don't like covering this stuff. I still don't know what I'm going to do. At some point, someday, we're going to get more real news about Deshaun Watson. He's going to get traded or try to come back. And I guess I'm going to have to cover that at some point. I don't like covering stories like this. Urban Meyer, Jon Gruden, Deshaun Watson. I want to talk about football. I love football. I don't like this stuff that's on the periphery. And I guess ignoring it though, like to not acknowledge like a head coach in the NFL getting fired. I can't just ignore it completely. But I want to encourage people: don't say bad stuff in private. Don't make jokes. Don't be shitty and don't say dumb stuff, bad stuff. Especially don't say it in writing. Everyone should learn a lesson from Jon Gruden. And I look back on my life. I'm like, I know I've sent dumb texts where I'm like, "Ugh, I hope that never comes out. Like, I don't want to be a hypocrite here, but I encourage everyone, don't do it. And I want it clear. Again, Urban Meyer, Jon Gruden, this stuff is hard to talk about because I feel compelled to say it. Like, I'm a human too. I make mistakes. I'm not perfect. And if it was one mistake 10 years ago for Jon Gruden, truly, that's forgivable. But it's way more than that. And I also want to say in a weird way, I think this could help Derek Carr, the Raiders quarterback. Jon Gruden is really, really tough. And I think Derek Carr might do better with a coach who's got a different style and embraces him a little more, is more encouraging. Jon Gruden is just really kind of the word is like a hard ass. He's really tough to play for, especially if you're his quarterback. And he's got these complicated play calls and he's really tough. And I heard, I think he built a house next to Derek Carr's. Like, they've been buddy-buddy, but I still know that I think Derek Carr might be better off with a new coach who's got a different approach. It might help him. So, I don't know. I hope I covered this in a way that people respect. This stuff is not easy for me. Again, I'm a football guy, and so people don't look to me to make a dissertation about and break down racism. I know that, right? Like, I want to talk football, and the sooner we can get back to football, let's do that. So let's now talk about college football.